is Everdeen, and today I want to share with you how to make this crochet top that I actually made back in like 2014, 2015, but never shared a tutorial on here on how to make it. I just kind of made it myself. But recently I lost the crochet top. I have absolutely no idea where it's at, so I figured I need to remake it because I really like that top, and if I'm going to remake it, might as well make a tutorial this time. So here we go. Today we are going to be making a top that I called the Rose Thorn crochet top because it has these little like spikes all over it and I thought it was really adorable. For this project I am using some black yarn, which I know is difficult to see, and I don't like using black yarn in tutorials for the most part, but that crochet top that I had was black, so I'm going to try to make it so that you could see it, even though it is very, very dark, but we're against a white background, so hopefully that helps. Anyway, so yes, I'm just using some black yarn that I have. I don't know how much this is. This is kind of just like leftover, all raggedy and stuff. But I know it's size 4, 100% acrylic, and if you want the link to the yarn as well as the same hook that I am using, it is a 5mm hook, by the way. I will leave my Amazon affiliate links in the description box below so you could purchase your own yarn and hook from there if you need it, if you want the exact one that I am using. So first thing we're going to do is create our slip knot, and if you don't know how to make a slip knot, if you are completely new to crochet, please watch my Crochet for Beginners video and literally any other of my beginner friendly tutorials, because this one is going to go pretty fast and I would not describe it as beginner friendly, but I'm still going to go through the basics. So if you have an idea of how to crochet, I think you should be good, but if this is too fast for you, I do have the beginners video down in the description box below, so please go ahead and watch that. So from here you're going to chain 12, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then after that you're going to go back on your project with a single crochet. So just go down the chain with a single crochet, and then once you reach the end you're just going to go back on it with another row of single crochet. So yeah, like I said earlier, if you're a beginner to crochet, please watch the beginners videos because there's so many reasons why this one will be very difficult for you. First of all, I'm using black yarn, which is of course the most difficult to see on camera, but then also I'm going rather fast. Okay, so then from here you're going to chain 1, flip the project over, make sure that you go into the very first stitch, and then continue on down the rest of the row with a single crochet. I also have a dedicated video on how to crochet a cup, which we are making a cup right now, I forgot to mention that. And the cup is like the area that covers your chest on the top, and I have a dedicated beginners video to that if this one is obviously too fast for you. But once you reach the end of this row, instead of working horizontally like you normally would, just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, we're actually going to now work vertically and go into this stitch right here in the middle and create 3 single crochets. So 1, 2, and 3, all in that same stitch right in the middle. And because you create 3, there's always going to be a middle stitch, right? So that middle stitch on every single row that you make at this point, that's the one you're always going to make 3 stitches in, okay? So then from here, you're actually going to single crochet down the other side, and then chain 1, flip the project over, go back up, single crochet 3 in the middle stitch, then go back down with single crochet, chain 1, flip the project over, and then go back up, single crochet 3, and then go down, and you're just going to keep going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth until you put the project against your chest and you are happy with the coverage. So of course it's going to look different for everybody since everybody has a different size chest. So for me it's probably going to look smaller than on you because I have a small chest, or if somehow my chest is actually bigger than yours, then mine may look bigger than what yours is going to look like. So It just all depends on your size and preference. Maybe you want more coverage, maybe you want less coverage, but again, that's how you know that you're done. Or you could actually count the number of rows that you're making, and that will make it so much easier for when you make your second cup. For me, if you're new to my channel, I hardly ever count my stitches ever. I usually just go by how it looks like, and I also usually just figure things out as I go along, which is what I am currently doing. So yeah, obviously I already know how to make a cup. I've made a bajillion cups already, but as for like the rest of the top, I don't remember how I made this. I'm just making it up as I go along and hoping for the best. So yeah, that's just, if you're wondering why this video is going the way that it is, and I'm not like throwing out numbers to you, that's the reason why. I am a self-taught crocheter, and what I mean by self-taught is when I was 9 years old, I just sat in a room with a hook and yarn and literally just figured it out, and that's it. Like no books, no videos, no nothing, just me figuring it out. So this is the result of that. And yeah, so every time you reach the end of the row, you're going to chain one, flip the project over, make sure you go into the very first stitch of the new row, otherwise your cup will curve. And then you're just going to go up the project, and then once you reach the top right here, the middle stitch, you're going to crochet 3, and then you're going to go down the project and then chain 1, flip the project over, single crochet your way up to the top, and then you're going to single crochet 3 stitches at the very top middle stitch right here. So this is the middle stitch. 1, 2, and 3 single crochets. And that will help make a point, which is what you want. We want to make a triangle shape, and in order for it to have a point right up here, we need to add 3 single crochets into 1 stitch. And as you keep going further and further along, it's going to get wider and wider and taller, and eventually it'll be big enough to cover your breast, and that's exactly what you want. So I will skip to that point. So after a while, your project will look something like this. So this is actually enough to cover my chest. So I went ahead and I stopped, and I repeated the same exact steps over again for the second cup. So I'm just going to keep with that pattern until this cup is the same size as this one, and then I will have 2, and then we can move on to the body of the top. So yeah, once you're done with the first one, just do the exact same steps for your second one until they're the same size. So now that I'm done with both of the cups, I usually connect them at this point, but I decided that maybe it's easier to do something different. So from here, we're actually going to start on the body. So once you have your 2 cups, you put them against yourself and you like the coverage, then we're going to move on to the body. So you're going to grab the second cup that you're working on and you still have attached to the yarn ball. You're going to make a chain that is long enough to wrap around your rib cage from here to about right here on your body. For me, it's 15 chains, but of course, it's going to be different for everybody. But if you want to make one exactly like mine, I am crocheting 15 chains. So that 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And that seems really small, but that's what I crochet in order for it to wrap around my rib cage. So after I chain 15, I'm going to go back on it with a single crochet. So I'm just going to single crochet all along the chain that I just created until I reach the side of my cup again. So now that I am at this side of my cup, it should look something like this. And then from here, we're just going to continue single crocheting all along the bottom of the cup. So just continue single crocheting along the bottom. Now there's not going to be any specific stitches that you can go into, so you just kind of have to find the nearest opening and then go into it and make a single crochet. So after you've done this once, it will have a nice like layer or row of single crochet that will make it smooth as opposed to all jagged like it probably is right now, or maybe just mine's jagged right now. But yeah, so you're just going to single crochet all along the bottom of the cup until you reach the other side, and then once you reach the other side, we're actually going to connect the other cup. Okay, so this is what the bottom of the cup looks like. So now we're going to grab the second cup and we're going to hold it against the area where we want to attach it to, so make sure that they're nice and lined up. And then you're going to place your hook into the corner of the cup and then grab your yarn, wrap it around your hook, and then bring that yarn through both of the cups, and voila, they are now attached. Woo! Okay, then from here we're going to single crochet across the bottom of this cup, and then we're going to chain 15 or however many chains that you chained, and then go back on it with a single crochet all the way across to the other side, and then all the way back and all the way across and all the way back. We're just gonna keep going back and forth with rows and rows of single crochet from then on. Super duper easy. So yeah, from here we're just going to single crochet along the bottom of this cup now, and then once we reach the end, we are now going to chain 15 from here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And now it is even with the other side, and then again from here we're just going to be making rows and rows of single crochet all along the bottom of these two cups to the point where you put the project against yourself and you're happy with the coverage. This part is going to be the part that covers your torso, so you can make it as short as you want or as long as you want, just depending on how many rows that you make. I want mine to be more of a crop top, so I probably will make less rows than somebody who wants it to be a full coverage top. So again, it totally depends, because I mean, if you want to make this a bikini, all you really have to do is make like 2 rows of single crochet and then you're done. But for me, I'm probably going to make, you know, I don't even know how many rows I'm going to make. Again, I measure it by just putting it against my body and then figuring out whether or not I like the coverage or not. So from here, again, I'm just going to go back on that chain that I just created, and then once I reach the bottom of the cup, I'm just going to make single crochets all along the bottom of the 2 cups until I just continue making more and more rows, and I'm happy with the length of them. So here I am transitioning from the chain to the bottom of the cup, and it is so much easier to make single crochets now that I already have 1 row of single crochet underneath. So from here on in, it's actually really easy. Just keep on making rows and rows of single crochet. So this is what the project looks like right now. So once you get to this side, make sure to always chain 1 before you flip the project over, and then make your new row. Once you get to the end, chain 1, flip the project over, and make another row of single crochet, chain 1, flip the project over, make another one, so on and so forth, until you eventually grow and grow your project. So I'll make a couple more rows to show you what it should look like in between, and then the finished product. So I went ahead and crocheted a few rows, and this is what it looks like so far. I'm pretty much going to maybe triple the size of this and then be done. I'll be happy with the coverage, but again, if you want more of a bikini, then you'll be done. If you want it to be longer, then just go ahead and keep going. Alrighty then, so I just finished the base of the top, and now all we need are the finishing touches, like the little thorns and the straps, of course. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And again, I do want mine to be more of a crop top, so this is the length we're going to go with. It covers just my ribs, so above my belly button, and like my stomach is exposed. But of course, if you want it to be longer, all you have to do is just keep going. So yeah, alrighty then. So from here, I'm just going to make the thorn designs all across the bottom of the top, and then I'm going to single crochet my way up and to the side where the cups are, and I'm going to make the thorns all the way up the cup until I get to this point where I'm going to make the strap, and then I'm going to go back down that strap, and I'm going to make the thorns all along this side of the cup, then all along this side of the cup, So I reach the top and I'm going to make the other strap, and then I'm going to go back on that strap and I'm going to make the thorns all along this side of the cup, and then single crochet my way this way and down and be done with the entire top. And that's just an overview of what we're going to be doing today, but let me show you all the steps. Okay, so from here on your crochet top, you're going to chain 1, then go into the first stitch of the new row with the single crochet as you normally would. And now we're going to start the spikes. So from here, you're going to slip stitch into the next stitch. Then you're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you're going to slip stitch into the very first chain that you just created. So slip stitch into that. And then you're going to slip stitch into the stitch underneath the chain that you created. Does that make sense? I'll try to explain it again after. But then after you do that, you make this little thorn. And then from here, you're going to slip stitch into the next 2 stitches. So 1, 2, and then you're going to slip stitch into the third one. Then from here, you're going to actually make another thorn. So you're going to crochet 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, or rather chain 4, sorry. And then you're going to slip stitch into the first chain that you made. But then you're also going to slip stitch into the stitch that you're already in, like the single crochet that you went into. You're going to slip stitch into that one to secure the thorn underneath. So that's how you make the thorns. So from here, you're going to slip stitch into 2 single crochet stitches, like from the previous row. And then you're going to slip stitch into the third stitch. You're going to chain 4, 2, 3, 4. Then you're going to slip stitch into the first chain that you made, and then slip stitch into the stitch that you made the chains on, right? So yeah, hopefully that makes sense. So yeah, that's how I make the little thorns. So I'm just going to go ahead and slip stitch into 2 stitches, and then into this third one where I'm going to make the 4 chains, and then I'm going to slip stitch into the first chain that I just made, and then I'm going to slip stitch also into the stitch that I made the chains on. So they could be nice and secure, and this will be the little thorns. So from here, I'm going to slip stitch into 2 stitches, and then I'm going to slip stitch into that third stitch. Then I'm going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I'm going to slip stitch into the first chain that I created. And then I'm going to slip stitch into that stitch that I made the chains on top of. Then I'm going to slip stitch into the next 2 stitches. And you get the pattern by now. So you're just going to continue with that all along the bottom of the top here until you reach the very end, and then I'll show you what I do next. But yeah, they will look kind of round at first, but you just kind of have to like point them yourself, and then they'll look more like little points instead. Okay, so now that I have completed the entirety of the bottom of the top, this is where I am right now. So from here, I'm going to just single crochet my way up the side and then across over here to where the cup is, and then that's where I'm going to make the thorns. But of course you could just detach the yarn from the yarn ball and then reattach it over here. But when I make crochet tops or really crochet anything, I like to minimize the number of times that I disconnect the yarn from the yarn ball and then have to reattach it. So that's why I usually just crochet my way to the next point, unless it is like impossible. Like when I made the 2 different cups, obviously I need to detach the yarn from the yarn ball and then make a new cup and then reattach the 2 cups. So that's like one of the only times I actually detach the yarn from the yarn ball whenever I make a crochet top. But yeah, for the most part I just like to single crochet my way across everywhere, as long as it doesn't like mess up the design of the top or make anything uneven or anything. But that's just personal preference. You could totally just detach the yarn from the yarn ball and then reattach it if you want to. But yeah, so I'm just going to go all across. So again, started from here, made my way up this way. Now I'm going across this way until I get to the cup. Okay, so I've made it to the bottom of the cup here. Again, it's hard to see with black, I know, but I'm right here. So from here, I'm going to go ahead and make the spikes or the thorns, whatever you want to call them, by going into the very first stitch on the cup with a single crochet and then starting my spike pattern right away. So I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch into the next stitch. Then I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then go into the first chain that I made with a slip stitch, and then go into the stitch with a slip stitch as well. So for these spikes, I want them to be a little bit smaller right here on the cup. So that's why I'm going with 3 chains instead of 4, but totally up to you, however size you want to make your spikes or thorns. So I'm going to slip stitch into 2, then into the third one, I'm going to chain 3, then slip stitch into the very first chain that I created. And then I'm going to slip stitch into the stitch. Then I'm going to slip stitch into the next 2. And then in that third one, then I'm going to chain 3, go into the first chain that I made, and then slip stitch into the stitch. And I'm just going to continue doing that until I reach the top right here. And then once I reach the top, I'm going to make a strap. So this is what it looks like so far. And yeah, I'm just going to continue until I'm right here. So now that I've made my chain of 150, I'm going to go back on that chain with a slip stitch just to, one, make the chain a little bit thicker. That way the strap doesn't like dig into my skin and it's a little bit more cushioned as opposed to it just being a chain. And also, again, because I do not like to detach the yarn from the yarn ball and then reattach it. But if that's what you would like to do, that is an option. But I am going to slip stitch all along the chain until I get to the cup again. And then once I'm at the cup again, I'm just going to make the thorns all along this side of the cup. And then up this side of the cup until I reach the point and where I'm going to make the strap again. And then go back on it and then make the thorns on the other side. But yeah, for now I'm going to go all along the chain that I just created with a slip stitch. And now that I have gone all the way down the chain, or rather the strap, I am now back at the cup, the top of the cup. So I'm going to just slip stitch my way right on top and then slip stitch another 2 times, and then on the second one I'm going to continue with the pattern and make my spikes again. So chain 3, go into the very first chain that you created with a slip stitch, and then slip stitch into the stitch, and then you're going to slip stitch into the next 2 stitches, and then in that third one you're going to slip stitch but then make your 3 chains, go into the first one that you made with a slip stitch, and so on and so forth. You already know the pattern by now. And yeah, that's pretty much what you need to do for the other side as well. So just continue making your spikes slash thorns all the way down here, and then work your way up to this point where you're going to make another strap of 150 or more, or less, depending on your preference. Again, I made 150, but you can make more if you want to. And then just work your way down the same way we are over here and make some more thorns until you get to this point, and I will meet you there. But if you're wondering how I was going to go about this situation right here, I'm actually just going to slip stitch from here to about right here. So I'm not going to make any spikes for about 1 inch. So I'm going to go into 1, 2, right here, right in the middle, like the one that's smack dab in the middle, 3, 4 stitches without making any spikes, and then I'm going to now move on with my regular pattern. So 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to make this spike, and then I'm going to show you what it looks like. So yeah, so you don't have to make spikes right here where it connects if it's going to be too difficult for you. You don't want it to be too close anyway. So you could just like skip a couple of stitches. Well, I guess you're not skipping it because you're just going into the stitches with the slip stitch. That way it's not too crowded right here. So just do slip stitches right here until you get to where you want to start your spikes again. And then, yeah, that's how I do this little conjoined area on the top. So from here again, I'm just going to continue making my spikes. I'm going to make my strap, and then I'm going to finish off the cup, and then single crochet my way this way and down, and I will show you how to attach the straps, and then we will be done. Actually done with the straps. I have finished the second cup. I have single crocheted my way across and down, and now it is time to cut the yarn from the yarn ball. And now I'm going to simply tuck in the excess yarn and then show you how I lace up the straps. So I will cut the rest of this yarn later, but for now, decide which one's going to be your back. I think this one's going to be my back. So flip it so that the back side of the top is facing you. Grab one strap from one side, bring it on over to the opposite side, and then bring it through the top portion of the bottom portion of the top with your hook, like so. And then you're going to bring that over to the opposite side again, and then attach this to the middle section of the bottom portion of the top. And then from here, you're going to reach it across the opposite side yet again, and you're going to attach it to the bottom portion of the top, and voila, you have laced up your straps. Woo! So now you're just going to do the same exact thing but on the opposite side with the opposite strap. So you're going to grab your strap, you're going to bring it onto the opposite side, and then attach it to the top portion of the bottom portion of the top by bringing it through with your hook. And then you're going to grab that same strap, bring it over to the opposite side towards the middle portion of the bottom portion of the top, and then you're going to pick where you want to attach it to, bring it on through with your hook, and then you're going to reach on over to the opposite side one last time, and then attach it to the bottom portion of the top by, of course, bring it through with your hook. And after you have done that, then you are completely done with your top, and now you can go ahead and style it and wear it and enjoy it. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. I know it was very, very fast and quite difficult to see, but I still hope that you enjoyed it. Maybe you like hearing me talk. There's a lot of people who comment and say that they don't actually crochet, they just like watching the video just to like watch me make something, and then also just have some background noise in the background, which if that's why you watch my videos, that's great. But if you watch this video to learn how to make this top and you're just like struggling to keep up, don't worry. I do have beginner friendly tutorials that are way easier to follow and go into much more detail or much slower, and I think that you'll really enjoy them. So go ahead and visit the rest of my channel for more crochet tutorials and videos. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up before you go, and of course click that red subscribe button if you have not already, so I can see you next time. Bye, and have a magical day.
These days, under the sun together, these days, let's make them last forever. These days, let's hope they last forever.